Oh, welcome to the Entrepreneur's Trip, and we are X.T.C.
I'm Shalonda.
I'm Tristan,
And I'm Chris.
and as an entrepreneur starting and growing your business, you may have a destination, but the journey getting there can be a trip. We want to be your travel companions and inject a dose of X.T.C. as we explore real life conversations about navigating the world of entrepreneurship in the United States and the Caribbean. So, guys, I want to talk
Hey.
about the who's and why of entrepreneurship.
Mm.
All right.
What you got for us, Tristan?
I'm gonna give you 2 seconds. I want you to think about the most successful entrepreneur that you know. Right? One,
Mhm.
two. It should already be there. All right.
Mhm.
So I got three for you, possible four, and I'm gonna go with Jeff Bezos. Right? Co-founded Amazon in 1994. We got a Bill Gates, and then I got for you the amazing Steve Jobs. Right?
So wait. Sorry, Chris, but you have a whole bunch of Caucasian men. You ain't got no representation there. What happened to the women, Tristan? Like
I was listening. I
what
was waiting
happened
to
to the
list my
women?
favorite female business owner, Shalanda.
Don't try to butter me up. Don't try to butter me up.
It's too late. It's too late.
Black
It's
women are moving and shaking. We're billionaires too. Well, I'm not a
we,
billionaire yet, but we do
we oh,
have
we're gonna
billionaires.
be. We're gonna be. But what we are
Yes,
doing and
I
what
said
we are
yes.
finding
I
is
said
that
yes.
there's more of us. There's definitely more of us. So, did you guys think about your entrepreneurs?
Yep.
Shalanda, let's keep it real. Was yours a woman though?
All three are women.
Ah, ah. So, what I want
And
to show you guys.
of course, the first one that comes to mind is who?
Let me hear this.
Oprah Winfrey of Own It
I don't even
Network.
think of her as an entrepreneur though. Like, and that's
What do you
funny.
mean?
I
The
just look at
woman
her as like a
owning.
philanthropist. She's always giving away something. Like I'm not even thinking like she really owns all and all of that kind of
Listen,
stuff. I just know her
listen.
giving out stuff.
You got a small
She's good at
business. You
giving
got a
out
small
stuff
business.
because she's good at starting stuff and
I'm
making
gonna give it.
billions from the businesses that she's
Agreed.
created.
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it. That's definitely a great one. I'm only take
Listen,
one more from you though.
don't be saying nothing but my Oprah,
No, no, no. I really didn't like. I think that's crazy, but that's where it is. I think sometimes we take these people for granted to a certain extent. We forget that these people are
Yep.
people, right? So like when you said Oprah, I was like, oh shit, she is an entrepreneur. Like it just hit me. I was like that because, like I said, when I think Oprah, I just think like she's just a great philanthropist. I didn't even think about her in an entrepreneur sense. I'm gonna
Okay,
let
I
you
got
keep
another
that
one for
one.
you.
You earned that one, Chris.
Okay.
Who's your entrepreneur?
Now I feel like I'm playing political games here.
You better come good,
You
Chris.
better
You
have
better
one like
come
mine,
good.
Chris. You better have one like mine. Just not do this.
hmm. Well, let's go with Jeff Bezos's ex-wife, who has
Really?
taken an opportunity and now is giving back philanthropically to all these universities, multi-million dollar grants. I guess that's more philanthropy, but
Mm.
I didn't
So
want
Tristan, behind every billionaire man is a powerful woman.
to.
That that there is because it's only that
That
woman
was
that
my
can come up
takeaway
with a
from
way to get that
Tristan.
money. But no, no, we do. Behind every great entrepreneur, I feel like there is a great support person. There is a great support person. And with the people that we just mentioned, I want to recap my three. And the reason why I want to recap my three is because when we think about entrepreneurs, the conversation always starts exactly the way ours just did, about success.
Mm-hmm.
About success. My homegirl Shalana gave us a real story the last time we spoke, and she talked about failures and how she felt flat on her face. She's still pretty. These falls only build character, and that's all it really does. So let's talk about Jeff Bezos real quickly. I believe, let me look at this note real quick. In 2020, he started a AAA game company called Crucible.
Mm.
It flopped, but you know what they do is that we find phenomenal ways of saying that we failed. They said it started in May, and by October 2020, it permanently halted. Explain that to me. Do you see the
Sounds like
wordplay?
closed.
Permanently
Halted.
halted.
Yeah. It's like
Right?
how things temporary becomes permanent in the Virgin Islands, right?
Well, we're not going to talk about that. we're not going to talk.
Another
We're not going to
episode.
take a trip down that road. Watch the pothole. So that was one that he technically failed at. Another one is Amazon, I believe, what was it, 2014. Amazon, everybody's in the phone business, and Amazon was taking their shot at the Amazon Fire Phone. I'll wait for it. I'll wait for it. Bill
Cricket.
Gates. When you look up Bill Gates, I think I think it's his popular failure, and it speaks to his character, and I think is a great character building plot and throughout his story whenever we look him up, and it's Traf O Data. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I think he was in about eighth grade when him and his friend Mr. Allen created this company, right? They're in 10th and 8th grade. Why are we measuring their failure in 10th and 8th grade?
With an eighth grade. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? But they started a company, and what this
Failure. It's
company,
trial and error. It's
but
not
that's
failure.
what it
It's
is.
trial and
But
error.
that
Yeah.
so we the only thing we look at is Bill Gates, and we think Microsoft. We don't look from 8th grade he was failing. From
Mm-hmm.
8th grade he was failing. We're not even going to talk about the college dropout. From
Mm-hmm.
8th grade he was failing. You see what I'm saying? And that's just it. What was it? I think they pulled a net total loss of $3,494. I'm not even gonna go down to the cents if there was cents, but what makes sense about this is that they were smart enough to pull out at $3,000 and for 3,494 $3,494 in the hole. It made sense at that point in time.
To
Failure.
permanently.
Yeah. And that's just it. So when we think about entrepreneurs, oh, I almost forgot Steve Jobs, the guy that
Mm-hmm.
got fired from the company to come back to the company, built a computer, the cube, the cube, that was perfectly cube. That's what it was, just perfectly cube, but didn't have the software to run it.
Wow.
He failed. However, in time, and endurance, we become successful. And that to me is the who and whys. So we think about the who's of entrepreneurship, but we never think about one, the why they did it, right? Because they all had great reasons as to why it is, or they wanted to make some kind of change as to why it is that they did these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't count that they failed and they endured. They
Mm-hmm.
endured. And that's what this is about.
Jump in here because as you're talking,
I saw
Tristan,
you itching. She was itching, Chris.
I'm itching to get into this conversation because you make a really, really good point, and it reminds me of the recent movie that was just released, King Richard,
Mm,
right? Um, Venus and Serena's dad. And Serena happens to be a black millionaire who is a
mm,
woman. Tristan, since you seem to need some diversity in your examples
mm.
of CEOs that are failing but succeeding, but
And they
to
are.
the point, right? When you think of Serena Williams, you think of a woman who has had over 20 something Grand Slam titles, who has her own clothing line, who owns stake in the Miami Dolphins and in UCF. You think of all of her successes. And what I loved about that movie is that it showed their starts were humble. Starting on the tennis courts in Compton, where Richard got beat up from the people in the community, but he would still take his girls out there. He would still try to protect his girls. He would still try to instill skills and persistence and keeping focused on the vision. Like he knew Venus and Serena were going to change the world of tennis
Mhm.
before the world knew that they were going to change the world of tennis. But they failed. They failed consistently. And it's
Right.
through that failure that you learn lessons to, once you get back up, you have an experience like, okay, oh, now I ain't gonna do that again.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
Or maybe I need to tweak how I do that. And I guess I really admire Serena and Venus because I do play tennis. And I had to play at Kenny Gator, right? Sidebar. I play at Kenny Gator. Kenny Gator is a public tennis court here on St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, and it's on a road where there's a lot of traffic. And I play in the morning, so most people are commuting to work.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, if I can get 25 cents for every time traffic stopped because of the light, and some man wants to tell me how to hit the ball, don't hit it too hard, don't hit it too soft, don't come out on the court. That's my response.
But
Come out on the court.
I just want to jump in because that's my quick. That's my it.
I see you itching. I see you
Yeah, you
itching.
see. So why is it? And this is the one thing about being an entrepreneur. Also, why is it
Yeah.
always the people that's not doing it telling us how to do it? I'll wait
There's
permanently. Wait.
there's a Chinese proverb that says, he who says it cannot be done should not interrupt the person doing it. And basically, everybody's going to have an opinion. And yeah, it's usually the people who don't have something to show for themselves. If people are in a better spot than you, they won't on you. If people who are jealous of where you are and where you're going and what your goals are, those are the people who start talking behind your back. So
Yeah. That reminds me of Avatar, the movie Tall Blue People.
yep.
So
Ah,
you guys saw it? I
yeah.
hope this reference okay. So do you remember that there's an apex predator, the really big bird?
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
And remember towards the ending, he got the big bird and they were like, how the shit did you do that? And he was like, when you're the apex predator, you never look up. You
Yep.
never look up.
Yep.
Because there's
Hmm.
nobody above you. You see what I'm
Love
saying?
you.
And
Hmm.
and that's what it is. Like when you get there, when you're the Oprahs, that's why I can't even look as Oprah as an entrepreneur because I still gotta look up at her. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
but
like
she didn't
there's not
start
much
there.
around.
Yeah, but she didn't start there.
No, no, but I
And
definitely
that's the
understand
thing.
that. I definitely understand that, and I do
Hmm.
admire her work because she's one of them. And being an entrepreneur isn't just like we say putting in work, but it's about endurance.
Yes.
And I
Hmm.
got a next question for you, and we're gonna jump into it a little later, right? And I
Hmm.
want to know if there's any animal, anything that you can be, insect, anything, what would you be? Think about it from now, all right? But what I do want to share with you
I
and
know.
tell you about is that the who's of these entrepreneurs who are entrepreneurs, they're risk takers.
Hmm.
That's what they are. You see what I'm saying? King Richard, the same thing. He took the risk. When that happened the first time he was beaten up, it didn't stop him from going back. It didn't
Hmm.
stop them from continuously persevering to whatever our goal is, whatever our passion was, whatever it is. I hate saying was because it makes it seem as if it's like past tense. Um,
Right.
so whatever our passion is, and we could have more than one passions, and that's just it though. It's about us taking that risk. Now the question is why? The why. That's the deep part. And the reason I'm saying
Because
that's the deep. Go ahead.
the dream is compelling. Their why is they can see in their mind's eye what it is that they want to accomplish or what it is that they want to contribute,
Mhm.
right?
I
And
love that
that's
word.
part of their passion, right? I was talking to a friend recently and I said it's one thing to start a business because you want to make money. When I started my first business, I was like, oh, I'm a single mom. I need to be making more money so I can support my daughter, right? In
Hmm.
theory, that's a really good reason, right? This time when I started the business with my daughter, it wasn't for me to make money. It was for me to create a legacy
Yep.
of generational wealth where my daughter doesn't have to struggle the way I've struggled, but my grandkids that I don't know yet, or my great grandkids that I don't know yet, also don't have to struggle. So if I can
Perfect.
make, that's my why. That's my why now. So it's
Perfect.
different. And
Perfect.
I think that's what Richard's why too, with
Well,
Serena and Venus.
Yep.
I don't know. I felt that one was a lot. I felt your second portion, I would say yes.
Okay,
Because
okay,
hold on, hold
Tristan,
on, hold
are
on, hold
you
on, hold on.
ready for you?
Hold on. Because I want to jump it this way. And the way that I want to jump it is I
Mm-hmm.
think, remember our conversation, what was it, a couple nights before New Year's? I think, I'm not to the I feel yet. I think. So I think a lot of people hop into this entrepreneurship thinking about we want to make money. We want to do something more. And that is where it is where we experience our failures because
Mm-hmm.
we're in it for, I want to say that external, we're in it for the money that's supposed to do something else. What I love about your story is when you were there with Chasky, you said it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You hopped in this one. This one is passion. I want to
Mm-hmm.
create a legacy, a legacy. And this is the second part as to the why. Most of us who are entrepreneurs, it's passion, yes, but there's a change that we want to have. There's a change that we want to see. So, was there, I don't want to say, was there a legacy before? I know your dad was amazing, is an amazing artist, although he might be on pause right now, not permanently, just on pause. But like that was one aspect of that legacy. But here we're talking about generational wealth. There's a
Mm-hmm.
change that wasn't there before. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I want to say I'm assuming on this point, but
Mm-hmm.
that's how I feel. See how I did that?
I see how you
but
did
that's how
that.
I,
I see how you did
but that's how I feel is that once we get to this point now where we're doing what we're passionate about, that can create the change that we want. That's
that.
when we
Mm-hmm.
become successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's when it makes a difference. So Chris even spoke about not doing it the right way. And I told Chris before, like, there's no right way.
Big way.
Right.
Yep.
It's about our passion. You made that jump from marketing to do a documentary. I would have never done that because documentaries aren't my passion. I'm growing to love them, but they aren't my passion.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And just hearing you tell that story, I was like, man, Chris did that and it worked for Chris. But this trip, although we're not in it alone, you
Mm-hmm.
made that's the journey that only you could have made. I can't do the same thing that you did. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because we're not passionate about the same things. I had this
Mm-hmm.
bright idea. I just wanted a TV station. I was gonna do this. This is how it doesn't work the same for everybody. Because you could have been like, man, I'm gonna do my TV station, but that's not your passion,
Yep.
and that's where the difference is. So we take the risk in the things that we believe in our passions to create a change, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the who and why entrepreneurs are.
Mm-hmm.
We're the people that take the risk to create a change that to create the change that we want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna throw it to you now, Chris. I'm just let you say
What?
anything. I saw Shalana.
What?
I'm gonna skip
Tristan
over
dropping
Shalana.
some golden
Mm,
nuggets here.
mm.
Tristan,
I'm waiting for
you got
Chris. Chris got a
right
Chinese
now.
proverb for me.
I do have a proverb. I gotta pull
I
it up
knew
on the phone. So this is a quote by from translated from Rumi, but it says,
it.
"Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself."
Mm,
Mm,
And the reason I say that is, and to your point, Tristan, and yes, you are right. There is no right or wrong way to become an entrepreneur. Um, but I would somewhat argue that there is maybe a right or wrong why.
mm,
And your reasoning for getting
I can
into
live
it,
with that.
I think, is more,
I can live with that.
based on what we were talking about here, is more, because and I mean, we've been talking about this, entrepreneurship isn't easy.
mhm.
And if you are not passionate about, the product or
What
service
you
you're
do.
selling, or what your end goal is, then those hard times, which you're most likely, as most entrepreneurs experience, are going to have hard times. How do you motivate yourself past those? And I think that's potentially the difference between a success and a failure. Is a failure, even Tristan, you were mentioning, the various entrepreneurs and their quote unquote failures, but their why was still intact.
Right.
If they were just focused on the idea of like the creating, the technical product or what have you, and it's like, oh, this doesn't work, so I guess we're done. But the fact that they had that vision, that why, that's, as an entrepreneur, you have to, yeah, failure is almost welcome, but you just have to fail fast and fail smart.
Right.
Right.
Where when you get back up, you don't place that accountability of why you failed on somebody else, and you got to
And that's
realize
a
that that's
very good
yourself.
point. And that's a very good point because what happens to us in life a lot of times, like you ever, when we're on group projects and we don't get a good grade, we always look at somebody else like, man, I didn't get a good grade because instead of having 250 words, Shalana wrote 2,500
Exactly.
words.
Because Shalon has a lot to say.
And that's just it. It's like I just feel like we haven't played to our strengths. So now we know if that's the case, we position play. That's what I call it in life. I call it position play.
Mhm,
You don't want your
mhm.
quarterback running wide receiver.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you don't want your running back as your quarterback, even though he might be able to throw the ball. That's besides the point. When we all fit our cog, fit our cog into that machine, it's well balanced, and that's what it
Mhm.
is about. It's about us just playing our parts and doing the best that we can. And once we're doing the best that we can, if it doesn't work, what are you gonna say? Well,
Yeah.
here's what it is that I might have been able to do better, but I wouldn't have known that up until that point because I didn't fail yet. You see what I'm saying? So when we
Mhm.
fail, losing is like winning, except you learn more. So when we
Yeah.
fail, then we're able to discern the fact that, oh, wait, so I was doing this, but here is where it is that I need to focus a little more on. Instead of worrying about Shalana and Shalana's aspect, oh, well, this person did this or that person did that. Like you're saying, it's what was it? I became wise and focused on myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yesterday I was clever. I wanted to change the world yesterday, so I was clever. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself.
And that's what it is. Like it really brings it home to me. It's again your passion, our
Mhm.
self reflection, and really and truly, like we have no one else to blame but ourselves. If we fail and refuse to learn from our failures, nobody else could teach us. I mean, could teach us about us from our failures better than us. Like we
Yep.
could, people could
Yeah.
point out different aspects of things. However, it's when we realize, when we accept, hey, this is who I am. This is what it is that I did. Then I could better navigate on
Yep.
my journey. You know.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
so on the for you really quick. Go ahead. You look like you have something to say.
I do. I do. You guys got me thinking. You guys got me thinking. And to Chris's point with the quote and working on the person.
Mhm.
I think we alluded to it in the last episode where when you decide to become an entrepreneur, yes, you may be starting and growing a business that provides services, products, or whatever it is that you're offering to your client. But if we take that perspective a step further, talking about the why, take it a step further, what is the impact we're hoping to have in the world?
But you said in the world. You're saying in the
In the
world.
world, and
Yeah, right.
in the world,
That's
it's
macro.
whether
Bring it
it's
home.
but listen, the world can be relative. Your world
It
could be
is
your family, your world could be your
true.
community, your world could be
True.
your island, your world can be your nation, your world can be international. It doesn't matter how you defined your world.
Mhm.
What is that impact that you're hoping to have? And you talked about Microsoft in the beginning, right? And most entrepreneurs and most businesses say you need to have a mission statement. And usually the mission statement is surrounding whatever they feel their purpose is or what they're hoping to accomplish or the impact they're hoping to have. Microsoft's corporate mission. Now, what kind of business is Microsoft? We all know what kind of
They're
business is
gonna
Microsoft.
say, well, I think most people are gonna go like they're in the computer business, but I believe they're in the software business.
Okay, Microsoft's corporate mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more.
Mhm.
So it's bigger than the product.
Yep.
It's
It
bigger than
is.
the software. It's bigger than
It
the
is. It
hardware.
is.
That's
It
their
is.
why.
Yeah.
That is powerful. And as entrepreneurs, that if we're coming from that perspective, what is the impact I want to have in the world? The products and the services we provide is just a means to
Right.
be able to make that impact.
And I think uh one thing that I want to make sure isn't kind of lost on our audience here is the who we define to be a successful entrepreneur. Obviously, for relatability, we all named kind of some of the most famous entrepreneurs here, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you could add a couple others to those lists, founders of Facebook and Google and everything like that.
Right.
But entrepreneurs come in all shapes and form, and this
Chips and stuff.
definition of success comes in all shapes and forms.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be somebody in your hometown or in your community who, by Shonda's definition, how do you want to change the world, may be impacting that community on a incredibly
Mm-hmm.
intense and a level that's really helping that community that would never be mentioned in a conversation with an Oprah or a Bill Gates or what have you, because they haven't achieved that financial or that notoriety success. So
But it doesn't mean that their impact is any less.
exactly.
Right.
Because the impact that they have on the people that they touch
Yep.
is meaningful.
And
Right.
You know what I
that's kind of my point is
mean? Yeah.
the definition of success. You shouldn't feel like a failure if you've helped your community but haven't you know made the next Tesla car or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Your The fact that you have changed somebody's life or impacted somebody in a positive way, like that
Mhm.
alone is a success.
It
Yeah.
is, and that's what I think one of the points too, where we're talking about self too, Chris, is just that remember it's about I don't it's not completely about self, but a great part of it is self because what we're not going to do is allow an external person to define what our standards are. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because a lot of times we adhere to what the I want to say society calls or deems success.
Yep.
So where that would have been, we have to make X amount of dollars, or you have to do whatever it is, or you got to hit this status quo. When to ourselves, if we accomplish smaller goals, reach, there's a lot of people that find themselves more fulfilled when they reached and they know that they've touched one individual,
Yep.
and
Mhm.
that makes the world of a difference to them
Yeah.
because they know who they touch, and that's within themselves, kind of way.
Mhm.
So when we set our goals, sometimes we need to set our goals for ourselves and not necessarily a societal goal. When I first spoke about researching how much money I wanted to make for a year in order to be successful, that 80,000 plus benchmark was a societal benchmark and not my benchmark. When I did a couple weddings, when I did this, and people seem to be really happy with their videos.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
probably made less than 15,000 for the year. I mean, I didn't make nothing to tell you the truth, and I was so happy about what it is that I made,
Yep.
not due to
Mhm.
the fact that I didn't have to pay back because I didn't make anything, but when you look at like the body of work, when you look at the memories that you preserve for these people, those
Yeah.
moments that you've captured, it the money couldn't pay you for those moments. There's no amount of money that could pay me for my friendship with Shalana, and she was a part of that journey back then. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that's just it. When we
What
use
about 20
ourselves,
million right now, Tristan? No, just kidding.
if you said if you
Listen,
said
don't bust my
21,
bubble.
if you
I
said
got mad low.
21,
Yeah, I did say 20.
if you
For
said
20 million, he
21,
might just say, okay, kick Giovanna to the curb.
but yeah, but that's just it. And that's where we place the ourselves in it. That selflessness, that our goals, our passion. Again, it goes back to me. For me, it goes back to the same things. So Shalana, way earlier, guys, I asked the question, and the question was, what kind of animal, insect, anything, if you could be, what would you be? And I'm gonna hit you with the third grade question: why? Remember when you did those long essays? You were like, if you could be anything, why? You could be this, and then they got why in the little parentheses. Like, why am I gonna say why? I just want to be a fireman.
Okay, so I forget about that. So I'm gonna let Chris go first.
Good.
Let me think about it. Wait.
Oh, yeah, I kind of had forgotten about this too.
That's how you know it was good.
Yep.
I know.
Huh.
I know. We need the Jeopardy song playing.
Uh,
Okay, I think I have an answer if you need more time, Chris.
yes, go ahead.
Okay.
I like how she threw it to you, got
Right.
her time, and was like, you know what, Chris, I'm gonna save you.
Yeah, yeah, I'll give you time to think about it. No, the first thing that comes to mind for me is a butterfly.
Mm. Symbolizes change. Let's go.
It symbolizes change, but in its very beginnings, right? It's like not the most attractive, to be quite
Mm.
honest, right? Um, but when you have it surrounded by that cocoon, you're like, what the heck is going on inside? And I think that's how entrepreneurship is a lot of the times. You know, you have this big idea, and then you start doing the work, and you start feeling some of the crunches,
Mhm.
and you realize this shit can be really, really hard. And so we tend to put ourselves in a cocoon. We tend to get
Mm.
very singularly focused on, okay, this is the work I need to do, this is the business I need to grow. We put ourselves in a cocoon, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing in that it allows you to do that inner growth, right? That we were talking about as an individual, as a person. The downside is that you're not open to having others at that point, right? To support you through that cocoon process. But the cocoon process is important. And then once you're able and ready and strong enough to really open up that cocoon and fly, it's a beautiful thing to see,
Right.
you know? Um, and so I like the butterfly because of those reasons, but I believe butterflies have pretty short lifespans, right? The lifespan has
Well,
to be.
as long as it enjoyed its life.
So it's not the quantity of the life, but the quality
Quality.
of the
Mm.
life and the impact of that transformation. Because I mean, when you think about it, when you go out into a field or you see a butterfly, right? You usually like get a smile on your face. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, right? Look at the butterfly. And you would hope that that's the response the people you've served through your
Mm.
business has, like, oh, look at Tristan. You know, he built my wedding,
Mm.
and now my grandkids get to see it, and it's just amazing. Or, for Chris, when Alex looks at it, or Alex kids looks at your documentary, they're like, damn, Hurricane Maria was hard, but if we
Mm.
didn't have Chris memorialize this experience for us, now
Right.
that we're living in Florida, we're doing all these
Right.
amazing things, we wouldn't have been able to really see the growth, because sometimes
Not
our
only
memory
see, hear it, because he gave them a
story,
voice.
and then be able to get responses from people. Because I will tell you, I know we're getting a little bit off the topic here,
No, no, you're
but
good.
when Chris did the viewing,
It was
uh,
Shalonda was part of my team, so yeah, it was a we.
yeah, it was a we, but the thing is that that was your vision,
Mm.
and the team, we supported you in that, so that when we had the viewing, I think we had probably like 100 people in the room.
Mhm.
There was not a dry eye in that audience. I mean, the converse, because we had the viewing, and then we had a panel discussion, and then we had, you got to feed people, right?
Yep.
You're pampering people to get up and then say
The
good
taxi
night.
from the
And go
Caribbean. I always
feed
get
them,
feed people.
right? So, we had the viewing, we had the panel conversation with the stars of the documentary, and Alex and his family are just absolutely adorable. But then we had the food and the drinks after where everybody was socializing and
Mhm.
networking. It just landed. It landed on in such a way that when I think back on that day, I feel like how I feel when I see a butterfly. Like,
Mm.
oh, what Chris, just look how amazing. So I hope you guys inspire me. Both of you guys inspire me that I hope that I'm able to do the same thing for the people that I serve.
Mm.
So
I'm
I'm
pretty
just a
sure we
little
do.
butterfly. I'm a little butterfly.
I want to change minds now.
Oh, see what happens when I go first?
That's right. Never again. What you got for us, Chris?
All right, so I'm going to take a little bit different approach, where Shalonda, the question is, imagine the animal who you would want to be, and obviously the transitions that a butterfly goes to
Mhm.
become the butterfly. Um, for me, I would say like the creature I would aspire to be uh,
Uh,
would be a shark. And my reason, and so and not getting into any kind of religious debates or anything here, from an evolutionary standpoint, if you subscribe to that, the shark is the most perfect animal in existence today, in that it
Mm.
has remained evolutionarily unchanged for like millions of years.
Mm.
wow.
So my reasoning for wanting to be that, or saying that that would be the ideal animal, is that if I were to look back at, someday on my deathbed, and look back at, the life I've done, that I've gone through all the changes, and have basically made it through my fears, to be the person who had already gone through all those evolutionary changes through my life, to be that graceful, feared, respected, loved creature, that, to your point, Christian, earlier about, uh, the apex creature, the shark,
Right.
sharks
You know, look
sharks
up.
sharks don't have to look up, you know what I mean? um,
Mm-hmm.
and they still get hit sometimes, they still get attacked or what have you, they have scars, but generally a shark has made it through, or can make it through a lot, and has bored a lot during its, not only its time, but just evolutionarily. So with me as a father and stuff like that, I just want to hopefully be the person that I want my daughter to look up to someday. So that's the shark as a creature I aspire to be.
Mm. That's dope.
Okay, that
That's
is
dope.
deep. That's some deep shit, Chris. When you said shark, I was like, oh shit. The first thing that came to mind was Jaws. I was
Right.
like,
Mm.
as a island girl that the be in the ocean, the last thing I want to see is a shark.
Yeah.
They're highly respected by those in the sea and those
Hmm.
outside of the sea.
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah.
I go surfing, when I'm surfing. If I see a shark fin, I immediately like try to calm myself, and I'm like, I am in your territory. Like I am visiting your home. If you want me to leave, just let me know in a nice way, and I'll get out.
I like how you said a nice way. What's a nice way?
In
Show
a
me.
nice way.
Just a little wave, Time to go.
All right,
That being
Kristen, after
said,
you put us on the spot, what's yours?
well, I'm gonna give you mines and I'm gonna rap one time for the one time. Not because I want to, but because
Because we
I'm pretty
got
sure
to.
we're running good on time. So before I started, and just to tie it all together, you gave me the butterfly. When you said butterfly, I immediately said change, right?
Mhm.
Because the butterfly does symbolize change, and it goes back and it ties back into what it is that we were talking about as to the why. The why I said for entrepreneur is to be the change that we want to see, and that's it. It's because we desire to make a change. That's why we become entrepreneurs. And when you said the butterfly, that's what resonated with me. Chris, when you said the shark and you gave your reason about being on change for these millions of years, what resonated with me with that, you see, they agreed. She agreed with me. What resonated with that is the fact that it's called, for me, it's being true to yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
we know where it is that we started from. We know what our desire is, what we truly desire. And no matter what, no matter how long throughout that period of time, we only embrace the changes that come along, but we remain true to ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
To further tie it in, Jeff Bezos started sending, I believe he started selling packages out of his garage before there was an Amazon. Bill Gates was building computers out of his garage before there was Microsoft. These are stories of endurance. So for me, if you asked me this question about 30 years ago, what I wanted to be was a white tiger. I just found them to be so majestic.
Mm-hmm.
And now I was like, I just more want to be like a roach.
Oh God,
I'm telling you now, that's why I didn't want to say it after you went your butterfly route.
Tristan, don't let me
Because
get my
then
slipper.
I don't want to fly. But part of the reason being
Listen,
is
I
that
don't let me get a read, okay? I know the roach is gonna survive the apocalypse.
yes, the most is one of the most enduring creatures.
It is.
Yes.
Unfortunately, like there's no real beauty to it. There's no beauty to our grind. Like you can't beautify a grind. You can't beautify the work that you
Mm.
put in. You can't beautify the failures that you've had.
Mm-hmm.
However, what it does say is that
Mm-hmm.
if we endure, we can achieve whatever it is that we want, whatever it is that we want. So, on that note, I just want to wrap this segment really quickly. I thank you guys so much for your inputs. Thank you for that beautiful smile, Chris. I gotta come up with a cool name for you. I don't want to say wisdom, Chris. We gotta figure it out because you got that saying for everything. In the Caribbean, we got sayings for
Chris be
everything.
dropping, yeah, he'll be dropping some nuggets, man.
Ooh, I thought I was clever. And now I'm wise. I found myself. And that's just it. So, guys, love yourselves. Love what it is you do. Remember to be passionate. Remember, it's not going to be easy. Find yourself some beautiful people like I have to take this
Mhm.
trip with. This is X.T.C, guys. And who are you, Shalana?
Shalanta.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Tristan. So, it's X.T.C, not in that order that we said it, but it is X.T.C. So, have a great show, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.